You're listening to the Kenneth L. Johnson Show, career, culture, community, live on WPPM 106.5 Philadelphia. All right, listen, man, I'm just extremely excited about this show today for a lot of different reasons, but I get excited every Monday when I get a chance to come here to Philadelphia and do the thing that I like to do. Bring information to you about career, culture, and community. Yeah, that's the show tagline, so you know we do it authentically. So for everybody in Philly, just rolling with us, 106.5 FM, you know what we do. Please, I want to thank you all for kind of hanging out with us. I have to be respectful of the audience. We have people that are joining us on our stream. We stream globally here at Philly Cam 106.5 WPPM. And also, we broadcast live on LinkedIn because I love LinkedIn, and that's the thing I do. So with that being said, thanks everyone for joining us today. I get excited. It's springtime. It's a beautiful day here in the city of Philadelphia. As I've mentioned before, we literally sit, I don't know, a half a block from the Liberty Bell. Like literally, we're rated Independence Hall here at Philly Camp Studios. So just kind of walking through the city, enjoying the weather. I'm ready for spring. I had on a shirt earlier today. It said cheesesteaks, water ice, and soft pretzels. That's what spring is to me. Cheesesteaks, water ice, soft pretzels. I might get them all today. Philly, what's up? South Philly, North Philly, West Philly, Northeast Philly, Southwest Philly, wherever you're at. This is my way of saying thank you. So thank you for supporting the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. All right, I'm going to get to it because I'm excited about our guest today. You know, I always sit on the show and I talk about somebody being family, somebody being my people, my person. I've actually worked with this person for about, 5 or 6 years. He'll tell us when he comes on, but we got Dave Gannon today on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. So if you're serious about building your professional brand and showing up with intention on LinkedIn, beyond the conversation, this is the conversation for you. Again, today we are going to be joined by Dave Gannon, digital marketing strategist and social media coach with over 13 years experience helping professionals strengthen their digital presence and turn visibility into opportunity. I'm all about that. So let's get into it. Dave, welcome to the Kenneth L. Johnson Show, my friend.
Kenneth, thank you for having me. Man, it's an honor. Like you said, I think we've known each other for at least 5.5 years.
Crazy.
You know, you've been doing the DCSS with that, you know, with the National Urban League. And I think this is the first time I've ever been on radio.
Oh, really?
Even live video like this. So this is fantastic.
Man, I'm surprised.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
I'm surprised at that. I'm happy to have you. Man, say what's up to the people in Philly. Dave, where you at?
What's up, Philly? This is I'm coming in from Denver, Colorado.
Man, listen, we don't have any problem with Denver and Philly. It's all love out here for the Rockies, for the Broncos. We don't like anybody, but we don't really have any problems with the good people of Denver. So shout out to everybody in Denver or anybody in Dave's network that tuned in to check us out on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. I've been watching it on LinkedIn, Dave. Your people are chiming in. They're saying they're ready for the show. So I'm hoping they're here to join us today.
I hope so too. Welcome, everybody.
Well, look, I wanted to bring you on, man. You know, we've been talking, we had Patrice on last week, and Patrice Williams, she was talking about visibility and things of that nature and branding. And it started making me think, I'm like, you know, I spoke to Dave about having Dave on the show, and we were running through this Women's History Month agenda that we had, celebrating, uplifting, acknowledging women in the way that we need to. They are the biggest supporters of my firm, East Coast Executives, and probably the biggest supporters of the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. So we just wanted to uplift women. But when Patrice came on and started talking about visibility, branding, and all of the stuff that's important in that space, I started saying, you know, I've been talking to Dave about coming on the show. I think this is the week. So here we are.
Here we are.
All right. So Dave, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I said it's exciting, and I'm excited. Thanks.
It's excited to have you, Dave. So look, let's just jump right into it, man. So listen, what separates people who actually went on LinkedIn from those who are just posting and getting ignored?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is the misunderstanding of when you have a LinkedIn profile, you put it up there. Why am I not getting hits? Like, why am I not getting job offers? And the biggest thing is personalizing your profile. Because
Okay.
think about this, when your profile is up there, it can be working for you while you're sleeping. So it's really about presenting yourself with authority and presenting yourself in a good light, as if you're representing yourself when you're not even there, and that's what a lot of people miss.
There's a lot of social capital being placed into LinkedIn and being created through LinkedIn, right? So I can appreciate the theory around, it's working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People are there, but often, people are reluctant to kind of show themselves and express themselves there on the platform. What's your advice to people like that?
I think again, your LinkedIn profile is your personality. Everybody's different, so you want to be authentic. You also want to stay professional, but you also want to be authentic. So that starts with just when somebody shows up on your profile, whether you responded you commented and they're coming back to look at your profile. What are they seeing? So you want to make sure that you're presenting that in a good light. You've got a good photo, a professional, clean photo. Your headline reads very professional. We'll probably talk about that more later. And just don't be afraid to be yourself. I think we all get lost in this is a corporate world, and I need to be so buttoned up and not myself. But we all forget that companies are made up of people.
Man, Dave, you are talking my language today, and I'm going to tell you why. I had a conversation with a leadership coach today, Nicole Smith from Smitten, frequent visitor of the Kenneth L. Johnson Show, probably our most frequent visitor. But oftentimes I have to rely on her to just get some advice and insight on kind of how I'm looking on the other side of things, right? And I was sharing this morning that I said, I want to be more authentic. I don't think I'm being myself. And I think we spoke a little bit about that before the show. I was telling you that this will probably be a different side of me than you typically see on the Digital Career Success Series, because this is mine and this is my show. So I appreciate you speaking about being authentic, but people still struggle with that. And I'm just wondering if you have any advice for them on how they can really kind of, I guess, buy into that just within themselves. People always tell me, well, I'm an introvert. I don't feel comfortable with that. Talk to me about that.
Hey, the beauty of being online is, you can mask your introvertedness, your extrovertedness, you can mask all that by what you portray on your profile. And my biggest thing is I think a lot of people just post very generic things and they talk very generically. And what LinkedIn really rewards you for is your personality, telling personal stories. So if you can tell a personal story about a subject, you're going to get a lot more engagement than if you just said something very generic. I like you could say, I lost a $50,000 client because I didn't ask one question. That's going to get a lot more reward and eyes than if you just said, hey, here's 5 tips for communicating better. So
Gotcha.
adding that personality into it and the personal stories is huge.
Listen, and client, that's on the entrepreneur side, but we're all a business of one, right? So even losing a job opportunity because you didn't ask a question is detrimental to your career and success.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're speaking about something. I was on LinkedIn earlier today and came across Portia Obang. You may remember her. She was on the Digital Career Success Series. Portia's amazing, but she was speaking today about people telling authentic stories to kind of generate LinkedIn views and just interest, and how important that is. So to all my listeners out here, and shout out to you, Portia, to all my listeners out here, if you want to check out some information exactly about this, go today to Portia Obang, to her LinkedIn page and just look at the recent post. And she's talking about that right now. All right, Dave, look, one thing I'm noticing about LinkedIn, man, is feeling very crowded over there, more crowded than ever. So What does real differentiation look like right now on LinkedIn?
I mean, again, I don't want to keep harping on this personality thing, but the best thing you can do organically is tune up your profile. I mean, you have to stand out. The ways you stand out are, optimizing your profile. And what do I mean by that? Making sure your headline speaks about who you serve, what you do, and not just your job title.
Gotcha.
A job title that. I'll soup up. Also, make sure that you're using the correct keywords. So if you want to sift through the massive amounts of content that's going through, and I mean the thousands and thousands of people that have been laid off and are out of work, you need to stand out. And the best way to do that is to analyze your profile. What are you looking for? And make sure those keywords are in there. If people are searching, a recruiter searching, they can't find you, it's because you don't have the right keywords in there. We can also talk paid if you want, but that's more for business. But yeah.
Sure. You know what? I want to talk about keywords. I want to stay here for a second.
Okay.
I always speak to people about their headline. And sometimes they have these real creative titles or creative words in the headline. And I'm like, listen, I'm a recruiter. The headline is probably the most valuable real estate on a LinkedIn profile. I'm a recruiter. Typically what I do is keyword search, and I need to find you. So it's really important that your headline keywords will allow me to find you and what you do. Am I right in sharing that with people?
Absolutely. So I've been doing a lot of profile audits for people, CFOs, people looking for jobs. And the number one thing that I see is people have this, they've got like a four line headline that's just filled with, I don't want to insult anybody, gibberish though. It's hard to sift through it. You want those keywords that tell somebody who you are and what you do in a very quick, think of it as a text. I think that's a good way to look at it. Like, think of it as you're texting someone. You want that to be right away what they see immediately. So you're absolutely right.
I love it. Who you are and what you do. Follow that, and that's the path to a successful headline. All right, so we're talking about LinkedIn. We're talking about content in general. What type of content is actually driving engagement today, and what's no longer working? I know you spoke a little bit about what's driving it, but what's not working right now?
I think being generic is not working. Posting videos is working. We all hear about video, TikTok and Instagram Reels. What is really working is a mix. So you have to do a mix. You have to do static posts. Make sure you're very specific in your audience, though. Don't just post to post. And making sure video, you're using a good amount of video so people get to know who you are personally. Best way to do that is a little video, short form video. The other thing too that is really popular right now is longer form posts. Now that kind of goes against what a lot of people are saying, but the studies are showing like 1,200 to 1,800 characters, not words, are going to get you up higher because you're putting yourself there. The one thing about posting too that I recommend to everybody that I audit and talk to is make sure that you're consistent. That is the most important thing. If you can leave here today and know one thing, it's that being consistent. And what do I mean by that is you don't need to post every day, but if you're going to post 2 times a week, post basically the same time every day on those days you want to post. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I didn't realize that was kind of jiving the algorithm a little. Is that what's happening?
It is. The algorithm changes all the time. So
Yes.
I could have a full-time job just following that algorithm. So I kind of let other people do that. I have some authority people that I follow to watch all of the actual data, but that's what they're saying. Yeah.
All right. So Dave, you were speaking about the long form post. So now I'm getting curious because a lot of times I'll follow individuals and I'll start reading long posts, right? And I'm like, this is AI generated. They don't really sound like this. They don't talk like this. And it turns me off a little. I don't know. It's, I understand the direction. I understand how it saves time, but I want to hear from the person that I'm following. I want something to be authentic. So even if they're using AI, I'm hoping that they're kind of still putting a piece of them into that conversation. Tell me about how people are leveraging AI in this current visibility landscape.
Absolutely. You're right. I think we all feel this way. We want to know that when we're reading a post if I'm reading a post from Kenneth, I want to know that it's from him. It's his heart. It's his mantra. And for people just to use AI to write everything you're just using a robot, and you're not getting that true. And again, I'm going to talk about it, the personality. You're not going to get that true belief that comes from your brain. And so I think what you need to do is you need to come up with a concept, you need to come up with a theme, you write it out, then let Chat GPT or Claude, whomever you're using, Gemini, and let them form it for you. But then also police that. You have to just say, oh, I can't just take this verbatim what they said. You need to really make it your own. And that's, I think a lot of times it takes longer to try to use chat than it does to really form your own opinion and write something. So yeah.
Yeah, but you're a gifted writer. I've seen your work. So some people don't have that skill set. I mean, skill sets can be developed, but if you can have a little assistance on the way, there's nothing wrong with that either.
I agree with you 100%. I just think that you need to make sure that there's a balance, and you can throw out any percentage you want, but I definitely think the percentage needs to be more Kenneth than it does Chat GPT.
Man, speaking of Kenneth, it's the Kenneth L. Johnson Show here live on WPPM 106.5 FM Philadelphia. We are locked in today with Dave Gannon. Listen, we've been talking about visibility. And so when we speak about visibility, we have to be talking about LinkedIn, because for us here at the Kenneth L. Johnson Show, it's about career, it's about culture, it's about community. So LinkedIn is a place where you can develop a lot of that. But Dave, when it comes to paid versus organic growth, where should professionals and business owners alike, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that follow the show, where should they be focusing their energy?
Organic. People think that, if I spend a little money and boost a post, you're going to get it in front of all, hundreds and maybe thousands more eyes. And that's going to make my post more successful. No, I recommend you always start organically, see what works. And then if you feel like, oh, this post really resonated with my local audience, then I've got something. I've got a foundation that I can really push out there. And the other thing that you want to consider is, you could pay $500 to push out one post. It's going to fall on deaf ears. But if if you're strategic about it and you put it, you thought through your post, you post it, it gets a lot of organic engagement, then you can kind of assess and say, you know what, I think enough of my local people want it, so I'm going to boost it, and try throwing a little bit of money behind that to see what's successful.
Hey Dave, do you follow Gary Vaynerchuk at all?
I do.
Gary V's been talking a lot about that, right? Post organically, find out which one is getting the most engagement, and then put money behind it.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that from him this time.
Listen, you've been doing this for a while.
It's okay. I mean, hey, if we're speaking the same language, I'm honored,
Love it.
But that is true. The one thing else, though, you want to consider, though, is not just boosting a post. You have a lot more control setting up a campaign. So that's where I say, you really need to, you have to be strategic about what you want to do. So am I setting up an ad campaign, or am I just wanting to boost one post? Because it can get more expensive actually boosting individual posts than it is if you boost a whole campaign, set up an ad campaign.
So talk to us about what an ad campaign looks like for those of us that may not be familiar.
Yeah. Well, so number one, you can retarget, which is huge. That would require another whole episode or two. But basically, if you understand, it's like if you go and you click on, if you, I don't know, if you click on Kenneth's post and if he has an ad, and then you followed him, you're going to be shown other ads of his that are related to that. So it's all the same. It's content that is relatable from a person that you already know. So it retargets and pushes more content that it thinks you will like. But and so the ads are really great for if you're setting up a campaign, you want to have a specific target audience, you want to run it for 2 weeks, and you know basically what you want from that ad. So you have a landing page that you want to drive people to do X, whatever they want to do, register for something, purchase something, whatever it is. A boost is just you're just boosting to get more eyes in front of your. It might not even have a call to action, which is you should always
Okay.
have a call to action, but similar.
I love that advice. I love that advice. Listen, I'm always impressed by the work that you do. And I say that
Thank you.
having had my eyes on it for the past 6 years, give or take, right? I see it. I know the importance of it. It's allowed us to gain traction on another platform that we're both involved with the National Urban League. So I really appreciate it. But for someone who wants to build their brand but has been inconsistent, what's the simplest way for them to get started?
I would just take a look at your profile. I've said it many times. If you look at my content, you'll see that I talk a lot about this. Your profile is your personal brand on LinkedIn, so it encompasses all of that. Make sure that if someone comes to your profile and doesn't know you, they feel like they know you in literally the first 10, 15 seconds that they're there.
Love it.
So that starts with your photo. Like, what is that saying? And I always joke about this, but you don't want to. I live in Colorado, so you don't want a photo of you, trout fishing and you're holding a fish. You want something that is a posed photo, nicer shirt, buttoned up, nice dress, whatever you got. You want to look professional, and that's because that's the first thing. Second thing is your headline. Third thing, and you want to go down the order, your about section, and then your featured section. It's something that a lot of people don't really realize is that featured section, and we could talk about that for a long time as well.
Yeah, and know what? Let's go back because all right. So we spoke about the photo, we spoke about the headline. I want to speak a little bit about the about section.
Mhm.
What needs to be there?
It should be basically a little bio with keywords in it about what you do and what you do, who you do it for, and then also how you can help them. So it was interesting. I just did an audit the other day, and this woman had the best. Her actual about was really long, but it gave me a personality snapshot of her. So, again, it's kind of like reading from the top, you read from the top down. And so if her photo, her headline pulls me in and I looked at that, your about section should be a little bit more of a personality
Okay.
because, you don't have a lot of time. So get them, but put that personality in there, but also use the right keywords and be very strategic about it. I think, again, I'm a very personal, open book person, but I think you really do have to be very strategic about how you do stuff and keep it semi-professional.
All right, let's talk about being strategic. If someone decides today to take their personal brand seriously, what's the one move they should make immediately?
I mean, before you do anything, you're just as like a broken record. Get that profile in order. So, because your profile, you can think about, getting your headline, your header graphic, and we're talking LinkedIn here, so I'm keeping it focused on that. Get some good headshots. Put a nice header up there. Make sure that, you've got some good content that's going to represent you when you do some posts. So you want to have a multiple, you want to have multiple items. So you want to make sure that you have an introduction post. You want to make sure that here's one thing that I think a lot of people forget. I see this a lot on our digital career success series with your LinkedIn name. So your URL, I don't know if people realize that you can customize that. You don't want it to say Kenneth _LJ1795BS. You want it to say Kenneth L. Johnson, the LinkedIn / Kenneth L. Johnson. That's very important for SEO purposes, for just somebody to remember. And it also looks more professional. So those are quick things you can set up to get your personal brand going.
Man, I love it, Dave. Listen, you add so much insight and so much expertise to this conversation. I sincerely appreciate you and the work you do. Please let our audience know how they can stay connected to Dave Gannon and the work of Dave Gannon and what they can find on your website. It's my understanding you have some takeaways over there.
I do. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, you can find me at smallbutmightysocial.com. And if you go there and then go down to the form, I've got a kind of a rut buster download that you can get for free to get you started on what to post, where to find content, and ideas for posting, which I think so many of us always run into that challenge. And yeah.
What's the challenge of finding ideas for posting?
Oh, finding ideas for posting. Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then you can also find me obviously on LinkedIn. Just do a search, Dave Gannon, as well as my Instagram is You Can Do Social on Instagram.
You Can Do Social. I love that. You know what? We didn't talk about Instagram much, but I know people are using it and they're leveraging it for career opportunities, especially to brand them in the career space.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like Portia, you talked about too. I mean, her vibrant personality and look like that, she does a great job on Reels. And you definitely, I think it's a good to mix it up. So if you want to have a little bit less professional content, but talking about a personal brand, show people who you actually are is a great way to do that using LinkedIn, or I'm sorry, Instagram. Yeah.
A great way indeed. Listen, Dave Gannon on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. I told you we were going to deliver a great conversation about visibility and the tools and everything you can use to leverage yourself as a professional to look for on the LinkedIn platform. Listen, I do this every week, and I want to share with our audience that some things that I got from the conversation today. Here's my takeaways, right? If you're building your brand, consistency matters more than perfection. You do not need to post every day, but you do need to show up with a point of view. Dave spoke about this. Start by clarifying what you want to be known for. If your message is unclear, your audience will be unclear. Focus on value-driven content. Share insights, experiences, perspectives that position you as someone worth paying attention to, not just someone who is active online. There has to be a strategy. And most importantly, treat LinkedIn as a relationship building platform, not just a broadcasting tool. Engagement, conversations, and follow-up are where opportunities are created. If you take one step today, refine your profile, commit to a single content rhythm, and begin showing up with intention. This is the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. It's your place for career, culture, and community. We do it every Monday at 2 p.m. on 106.5 FM Philadelphia. You belong here. That's what we say, and that's what we mean. So thank you for joining us today. Whether you were joining us riding around the great city of Philadelphia, sitting in your house, South Philly, wherever you're at, or if you tuned in on the stream, we appreciate you. And for all my people on LinkedIn, keeping the conversation going, thank you so very much for supporting and taking your time to join us and stay here with us for 30 minutes on the Kenneth L. Johnson Show. I appreciate it. And to our guest, Dave Gannon, Thank you so very much, my friend. You know, I appreciate you and all the work that you do.